Welcome to Relationship Talk with Laura, where we are trying to change the world by improving our relationships. Last week we talked about criticism and how there is no place in a relationship for criticism of each other. In fact, we talked about how when we criticize each other, it is as if we pour poison into the other person's soul. And as we know, poison is a killer. And that's what it does. It kills the human spirit and it kills the relationship. Another way of looking at it is when you point your finger at someone else, notice there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. So when you point your finger, it's like a gun. And all of a sudden you unleash a hailstorm of fire from the gun coming at you like, And I don't know about you, but I don't like to be criticized. So the last thing I want to do is criticize my mate and have him think about all the things that I've done wrong or all the mistakes that I've made. So last week, our motto or our quote for the week was, be a builder of each other rather than a destroyer of the human spirit. Today we are going to talk about forgiveness as our main topic. And our quote for this week that I want you to remember all week long is, to err is human, to forgive is divine. I'm sure you've heard it. It's a very famous quote from the English poet Alexander Pope. So let's talk about forgiveness for a minute. When I was in college, my good friend Tom made a great impression on me. We were downtown one time and all of a sudden he saw his friend across the street, Alan. And he waved at Alan and said, hi, Alan. And Alan completely ignored him. He wasn't offended at all, but I was. I was really hurt that he didn't acknowledge my friend Tom. And I was kind of criticizing him and going off on him. And Tom said, Laura, stop. What are you saying? He is a really great guy. And that's not like him not to say hi to me. There must be something wrong. And I'm going to find out what it is. Well, the next day, Tom was in class with him in college. And he asked Alan, hey, Alan, I saw you the other day downtown, and I'm kind of wondering what was wrong because you didn't wave at me when I said hi to you. And Alan said to him, oh my gosh, Tom, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I had just gotten word that my mother has cancer, and I was in a terrible state and couldn't think of anything else. Well, you can imagine how I felt when Tom told me what the truth was. Tom taught me that day some very important principles. Number 1, assume the best. Number 2, try to think about why the person did what they did. And 3, let it go and consider it a no biggie. Now we can put infractions that we do to each other into 2 main categories. No biggies and serious, but yes, there's a way to forgive them. There's an old Welsh story from the 13th century. It goes like this. A prince arrives home and he sees his dog, his trusted dog, with blood dripping down his face. And he notices that his baby boy is missing and the cradle is turned upside down. In a fit of fury, he draws his sword and kills the dog, assuming the worst, that the dog had killed the baby. After he kills the dog, he hears his baby crying. He finds his baby in another area of the room, and by the baby is a dead wolf. The dog had protected the baby and destroyed the attacker. So we have to be very careful that we assume the best about our mates. And remember, there's got to be an answer. I'll give you one more story and then we'll take questions. This story is about my husband. and me, of course. So one day I forgot to pick up our laundry. And that evening, as we were about to go to bed, my husband was looking at the clothes that he was going to wear the next day, and he noticed, no shirts, no clean shirts were in the closet. And so he said, Laura, did you forget to pick up the laundry today? And I said, oh, I am so sorry. Yes, I totally spaced it out. I totally forgot. To which he said, oh, that's not like you. You never forget. So one, he assumed the best. He gave me an excuse. And then he said, oh, what happened? And I said, oh, well, the problem is that I was writing a talk that I'm supposed to give tomorrow. It's a speech at a women's club. And I was so engrossed in the speech that I completely forgot. And he said, no biggie, no big deal. And then he did something that's another great principle. He got me to laugh. Well, I guess I can eke out one more day with the shirt I'm wearing today. I'll just pour on a bunch of cologne, and we just both started to laugh because the whole thing just seemed funny to us. Laughter is indeed the salve that can heal wounds. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. All right, let's break for a minute and take a question from Anne from Colorado. My husband is frequently late coming home from the office. I teach school during the year, so I'm coming home first. Our agreement is that I cook the dinner because I'm home first, but he's late at least once a week. What am I supposed to do? Take it and become a doormat? Sometimes I just want to throw the overcooked dinner in his face. What should I do? That's a good question. I suppose sometimes we all feel like retaliating, but it sounds like no biggies might be good. To say what happened that you were late, that's not like you to be late, and then find out why, and then say, oh, I get it, no biggie. However, if he's a repeat offender and you're indicating that he does it about once a week, okay, then something is a little bit more serious. Maybe you are having the dinner too early. Again, say to him, honey, I noticed that you are late coming home from work about once a week. Could you tell me what's going on? What's the pattern? Discover together in a nice, calm way what's going on. And once you find out what's going on, then you can solve the problem together. But again, assume the best. Seek to understand, solve the problem, and then let it go. All right. Let's talk about a more serious kind of situation that needs to be forgiven. What if your husband, your mate, your wife commits adultery? That's a lot more serious. And so we're going to look at 10 steps on how to forgive a more serious infraction in the relationship. Can we put that up on the screen? The 10 steps on how to forgive? Thank you. Step 1 is write down or tell your mate what they did and how it made you feel. Number 2, ask yourself about why do you think your spouse did what they did? And number 3 goes along with it. You ask yourself, what did I do to contribute to this action? Number 4, place the event in perspective by seeing it in the eternities of time. Number 5, make a list of all the good qualities in your mate. And number 6, review your goals and dreams together. You don't want to forget why you got married in the first place. So let's back up for just a second as I give you the example. So, for example, you ask, what did I do to contribute to what my mate did? Well, maybe you ignored them. Maybe you were watching TV and they needed love and they were starved for love. And so there was someone they met on the outside, and what did they do? They fell for that person because they told them how much they loved them and gave them attention. In other words, you have to ask yourself, what did I do? All right, let's bring it back up on the screen again, the 10 things we need to do. All right, so you're not going to forget what it is why you got married in the first place. What are your dreams? What are your goals together? Review those. And then lastly, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 7 is forgive your partner. And it's in capitals because when you forgive them, you really do. And then number 8, very important, never, never, never bring up the event again. Number 9, let time heal the wounds. And then number 10, create new memories together. All right, let's go to the question by Marianne from Oregon. Are we supposed to forgive everything? I'm on the verge of divorce because my husband is a drug addict. He refuses to go to NA or enter treatment. We don't have children yet. I'm 26 years old and he's 30 years old. He can't hold down a job more than a few weeks at a time because he's unreliable. He always gets fired. So I'm the one who pays all the bills. What should I do? This is a really good question, Marianne. First of all, you're young, you don't have children. It takes 2 yeses always to make a good relationship. And if your husband refuses to get help for his addiction, there is no marriage, and perhaps you need to consider divorce. However, if he agrees suddenly to go into treatment and he's willing to change, then maybe there's a chance. Now, how does forgiveness come in this? Well, first of all, regardless if you divorce him, you forgive him. We should always forgive others. But forgiveness does not mean that you have to stay married to him. You do not have to take abuse, and certainly you do not want to be an enabler. I recommend highly that you go to one of the programs for spouses of alcoholics or drug addicts, and it will help you tremendously. I wish you the best. Thank you for writing in, Marianne. All right, do we have another question? Again, let's go over the 10 steps on how to forgive just casually. You don't have to bring it up on the screen. But let's talk about creating new memories. It's always important after we forgive someone that we think of that we have good times, that we go out on dates together, that we bring in brand new memories that will make us happy, and that we can move on and have these shared times together. Okay, so Shanna from Boise, Idaho. My husband always corrects me when I'm telling a story in social situations. Oh, that's annoying. It would be one thing if I got something important wrong, but these are usually small details that have no bearing on the story. I feel like he wants to show that he's always right. How can I best let him know he's embarrassing me? Oh, that's a great question. First of all, even if you did have some of the facts wrong, people don't care. For the most part, people are so involved in themselves, wrapped up in themselves, that 2 weeks later they won't even remember the story. So I suggest that you talk to your mate and say, I would like to talk to you for a minute. I know you don't mean to do this on purpose. Remember, always let them off the hook. 2, assume the best. You probably don't even know what you're doing or that it even bothers me. 3, but this is how I feel. Could you just not correct me when I'm telling a story when we're in public, because the people won't even care if the details are perfect or not, and chances are they won't even remember the story a month later. So if you could do me a favor and not do that, it would make me really happy. I'd really appreciate it. And he's of course going to say, okay. And maybe you can come up with a code. So if he starts to correct you, you can say, I'll just go like this. I'll tug on my ear, and that's a sign that you're correcting my story again. And then maybe you can just, you see that, I remind you, and you can say, oh, well, she knows the story. Sorry, honey, you go ahead with the story. And it'll work out. So come up with a little sign, tugging of the ear. Good luck on that, and thanks for calling. Our next question is Louie from Los Angeles. My problem is like the last email. My wife is an interrupter. She finishes my sentences for me, and it drives me nuts. How can I put a stop to it? The same thing applies. Take your spouse aside and say, honey, babe, whatever the endearing term is that you call them, I know you don't mean to, but it really hurts me when you finish my sentences. And so do you think you can let me, just refrain and let me finish my sentences? It would sure make me feel better. I know you don't mean to, but if you could change that, I would really be happy. And again, maybe you need a sign. Again, you can do the old tugging of the ear sign, and then it would remind your spouse, and your spouse would stop. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt again. So good luck on that, Louie from Los Angeles. Thanks for writing in. Okay, it looks like we have a call on the line. It is Jennifer from New York. Hi, Jennifer. You're on the air.
Hi, Laura. Gosh, I'm glad you're doing this program. I don't know quite where to start, but I've been dating this guy for about almost 3 months. I'm a florist, and he came into the shop to buy flowers for his mother on Mother's Day, and he's handsome. My friends all think I'm really lucky, but I can't seem to please him. I've changed my hair, I've changed my makeup, I've changed the way I dress, and he still doesn't seem satisfied, but he says that he cares about me and seems to want to continue the relationship, but I'm just but some negative things have started happening here lately, and I don't know what to think. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Okay, so let me interrupt you just 1 second here, Jennifer. It sounds like you have changed yourself to fit his image of what he wants. It sounds like he's turning you into his personal Barbie doll. Do I have that right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I wasn't blonde enough.
Okay.
And I like to dress up, and he prefers me to be more casual. And now he's suggesting that I might look into breast augmentation.
Okay.
So I'm a little nervous about going under the knife.
Yeah.
I'm happy with myself the way I am, but
okay. So I'm
starting to feel like somebody else, not like myself.
Well, it sounds like that's hurtful to you, that he doesn't accept you as is, which was one of our basic philosophies in good relationships, that we accept each other as is. It sounds like he wants to remake you, and in the process, your self-esteem is getting lower and lower and lower. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, initially, he thought I was cute. I don't know what changed.
Okay.
But it's been kind of a gradual transition.
Are there other signs that disturb you about your relationship with him?
Well, the most disturbing thing recently is that we were out with friends in a restaurant, and I must have said something that displeased him, or he thought I shouldn't have said, and he pinched me on the
Ouch.
on the thigh under the table and left a bruise.
Okay, so that's
And
kind of that's not very nice.
no, I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but
Did he talk about it
he didn't think
afterwards?
he did anything wrong. No, he just thought that I had said something thoughtless or stupid, and that
Oh.
he was, and he didn't think he'd pinch me that hard, and he didn't see anything wrong with it.
So it sounds like he has to be right. He didn't even apologize for pinching you under the table and didn't think he did anything wrong. That's kind of a bad sign. Have you thought about breaking up with him?
Well, I have, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in a relationship. I'm 31, and I've been kind of lonely, and he seems like a good catch. He makes a lot of money, and it's been nice to have the attention.
All right. Let me ask you this question, Jennifer. You felt lonely prior to this relationship, but let's just project it into the future. Say you married him and 10 years later, can you imagine how lonely you would be married to him if he continued to criticize you, you never were good enough for him, he pinched you, he was annoyed with the things that you said? That would be a lot worse. Trust me, it is a lot worse being married to the wrong person and feeling all alone than to live a life alone, but with a nice career. You're a florist, you have a lot going for yourself. And Jennifer, I would just like to say, don't think so little of yourself. You're young, and you could find somebody who would love to be with you, who would be thrilled to be with you and love you as is.
Well, that's what I've hoped, and I had hoped that this would work out. But I can see that that you're right. I don't know what I'm going to say to him, but
you'll know what to do. You will know what to do. I wish you the best. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for calling. You're a great person.
Thanks, Laura.
Good luck. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Okay, we have another email from Jake from California. My wife cheated on me after 15 years of marriage. She ended the affair and has asked me to forgive her. We have 3 children, ages 3 to 12. Should I forgive her? Oh, Jake. This is what the 10 steps of forgiveness are for. Let's put them up on the screen again for Jake from California. First of all, let's look at number 2 and number 3, Jake. Think about why your spouse did what she did. Then ask yourself, what did I do to contribute to her action? Ask yourself those things. It's really critical. All right, thanks for putting that up. So, what I would ask you to do is say to yourself, did I not give her the kind of love that she needed? Maybe I didn't know what her love language was. What does she like? Was she turning to another person because that other person told her how beautiful she was, how wonderful she was? Were you not appreciating her for the fine qualities that she had? Find out. Or did you have a sexual problem? Were you giving her the kind of sexual satisfaction that she needed? You better find out. Find out what you did to contribute it. Now, of course, what she did was wrong, but you need to find out what was going wrong. And I highly recommend that you go to therapy if you're not able to do this yourself. And then review in your head, after you figure all of this out, then go to the next steps. Let's put that up on the screen again. The next steps are to put this event in the eternities of time and review all of their good qualities, all the memories that you have together. Review your goals and dreams together, number 6. And then forgive your partner, and I mean forgive them, and then forget it, never bring it up again. And remember, time will heal wounds and create new memories together. Thanks for putting that up on the screen. All right. So, again, forgiveness falls into two categories. No biggies. So, your mate steps on your toe. You can say, ouch. Hey, you don't say, you clumsy oof, why did you do that? You big fat jerk. You just don't say things like that. Instead, you say, ouch, and then you say, that's not like you. And then remember, no biggie, I'm okay. And then make a joke. I'll only be crippled for the rest of my life. Make a joke. Make fun out of it. So there are the no biggies, and then there are the big things. And those big things, you have to go through the 10 steps of forgiveness. All right, so we have another question. Ben from Seattle. Last week you talked a bit about defensiveness. When my girlfriend criticizes me, I can't handle it. I end up in huge arguments with her. Remind me what I should do. Oh, that's very good. Last week we did indeed talk about criticism and defensiveness. And of course, when someone criticizes us, we like to say, no, I didn't. I never did that. Are you kidding me? And it sounds like this is what's happening to you, Ben, that you are defending yourself and then you end up in an argument that probably lasts an hour. Oh, it's just a lot easier to say, I'm sorry. What can I do better the next time? If you can just remember that, just stop yourself and think and say, I'm sorry. What can I do better the next time? It will make a huge difference. Defensiveness is a disease that we call having to be right, or having to get your story out rather than listening to your mate, understanding what it is that you did to hurt them or offend them, and then just saying, I'm sorry, what can I do better the next time? So with defensiveness, if you have to, then leave the room, take breaths, and then go back and use the principles that you know to be right. Okay, so let's go back to what our main theme is this week. To err is human, to forgive is divine. And it is divine. There is nothing more wonderful than being able to forgive your partner. Forgiveness is amazing. And so, in summary, 2 things. No biggies, we can forgive those easily. 2, if it's something serious like adultery, then go through the 10 steps on how to forgive your mate. And we'll review those one last time before I say goodbye for today. Put those up one last time. Write down or tell your mate what they did to hurt you. Think about why your mate did what they did. Ask yourself, what did I do to contribute to his or her action? In other words, don't just point the finger at them. Find out what you did. Seek to understand. Place the event in perspective by seeing it in the eternities of time. Because you know what? In the eternities of time, it won't matter at all. And 6, review your goals and dreams together. That's what life is all about. That's what our relationships are all about. Growing together, loving each other, having great experiences together, and achieving things together. And then 6, review. 7 is forgive your partner. And when I say forgive in capitals, I mean forgive and never bring up the event again. And then remember, time will heal all wounds. And the lastly, create new memories. Thank you for bringing that up. And so be sure and join us next week. We look forward to seeing you next week. And be sure and tell all of your friends about Relationship Talk with Laura, where we are changing the world one relationship at a time. See you next week. And until then, to forgive is human, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Thanks.